Divine discussions, divine. On Sundays we stream live. Divine discussions, divine. Conversation to stir up your mind.
Okay. I think this is like a really interesting question because like when I first read the question in my mind, I was like, yes, definitely. We sometimes allow church hurt to linger. But then my mind also started thinking about like, you know, the and I won't say saints of old, but like just church in general, the down the years of church. I do believe that there are people who experienced church hurt in the past and it has lingered to the point where that's why they're mean and nasty today. It's like a cycle of things. And I think it was said earlier, like when you don't get healed from that, then you do it to somebody else. The hurt that you experience, because that's all you do it to somebody else. And I think we have a lot of that in the church. Now, don't get me wrong, I think we have gotten much better with it. I think the church has gotten much better with communicating and talking about things and not just sweeping things under the rug. Because back in the day, that's what happened. Things got swept under the rug. And I mean, there's a lot that falls under church hurt, molestation, physical abuse, emotional, like all of that falls under the category of church hurt. And I think, honestly, to be completely honest, I think that we've been in a cycle of that. And people have known that as the experience so long that it just becomes normal. So when somebody comes in and like, yo, y'all tripping, like this is hurting me, and they express that, people are looking at them like, well, this is the normal. This is the experience that we've been getting for years. This is why I'm so mean. This is why I'm so nasty, because this is the experience we've been getting this for years. And I feel like, I hope I'm articulating this correctly, but I feel like sometimes it's a cycle. It lingers so long that it becomes a cycle. And like I said, I think we have gotten better with getting healed from it, but you have a lot of people who are in church today, and not only in church, holding positions in church, and I mean high positions, and they're not healed from stuff that happened years and years ago. And now they're bleeding on other people, and they may not be doing it intentionally, but they're not healed from past wounds. So that word linger, yes, I believe that's a real thing. And I think it lingers so long sometimes that it turns into cycles. Because just like the previous question, why do people give up so easily on church? You have some people who do go back and they don't give up so easily. And they go back and get the same experience. And in their mind, they like, well, this must just be how it is. So it becomes a cycle, and I become mean and nasty too, because this is all I've been experiencing. So, I mean, I think when I looked at that question, like it really took me to a different, and I hope I'm not taking this out of context, but it really took me to a different place. And looking at people before us and the generations before us, maybe they experienced church hurt to the point where they are the way they are today, and they expect other people to be that way too. But now we're in a generation where people are like, hold up, wait a minute, we're not about to deal with this. I know y'all dealt with this and didn't get healed from it, but we're not going to deal with this. And so I think it does linger.
I think, like you said, is yes, we allow it to linger to the point that it becomes less about God. And I think why we do that is because of the lack of the acknowledgement. I'm talking about myself. Like, if I tell you that you hurt me and you walk over it, okay, now I'm being petty because now I need you to acknowledge my hurt. You know what I mean? And I think that's what happens after a while. It's like, oh, you're going to acknowledge that you hurt me. You know what I mean? Like, we get so separated and dragged off by the fact it's because the lack of acknowledgement. Like, and if we don't do it quickly, that's what happens when it don't happen. You know what I mean? Like, if you do it quickly, like if I offend you up in there, I try to say, hey, I offend you. Now, if I don't see it, I ain't about to apologize because I don't see it, But even sometimes you have to apologize for love's sake. You know what I mean? For peace sake, you do have to apologize. And I believe that we do allow it to linger, but to prevent that from happening, sometimes if we could just say that, you know what, that was not my intention. You know what I mean? And not one of those high and mighty, that was not my intention. But a lot of times, if we came across the pulpit and say, this took place, I don't know, because sometimes it does have to come open and say, that was not our intention to offend you. But somewhere down the line, it caused hurt upon you. You know how much that would help remedy the situation, how much that would help lessen some of the wounds and some of the things that people are going through is because the lack of acknowledgement. That's what causes us to linger. Because it becomes more than after you tell me you didn't do nothing, like and I'll keep saying Charlotte, please forgive me because it's all Bené's fault. She ain't got it stuck in our head for years. I mean, it's like when people don't acknowledge it, it's like it becomes a cycle. And then it's like people thinking that this is right, like people thinking that this is how it's supposed to be. And then, like you said, when somebody comes in and say, now they a troublemaker, now they being messy because they're telling you that no, that's not how it's supposed to be. That's not how it, you know what I mean? That's not how we should operate. And I think that's the crucial thing is even anybody should be able to be told that, hey, you hurt me. And I should say, you know what, forgive me. Because if David could do it and say against thee and thee only have I sinned, God, and he did it against God, regardless of what we're doing, we think we're doing it to people, but we're really sinning against God. When we offend even the least of his little ones, we're offending God. So if we can do that and he can say, forgive me, I think that we should be able to too. Like, I think that it would just be so much more beneficial because it just becomes a cycle of abuse of what it is. We call it church hurt, but hurt is, I feel like, an isolated incident. And then abuse becomes a repetition of the same thing that's happening over and over.
Hey, Lindsay.
I just want to say that I don't know who's watching because I ain't been on Facebook because it's a lot going on in my house right now. But don't let your hurt stop you from coming to Christ. I know we heard it every Sunday, though thousands have come, there is still room at the cross for you. And I promise that one isolated incident is not going, God will blow your mind. Like, you can get hurt by one person, but God will heal you in front of thousands of people. You know what I mean? And please don't let your be emotionally led that prevents you from coming to Jesus. Because coming to man is one thing, but coming to the Lord is a whole bigger picture. So if this podcast has done anything, is come to Jesus, come to the Lord, come to the house. And even if it's only one person, I'm just telling you that God will set you up with some person to see you win. So I heard this song for the first time, and I'm old, so it probably been out for a long time. And you're going to live to see it happen. You're going to live to see, some of those things be healed and some of those things happen. Just please don't let an isolated experience stop you from seeking Jesus.
That was pretty much what I was going to do or say, something along the lines of that.
Go ahead and give the benediction.
No, like, that's it. And if you have been hurt, please don't be afraid to say something to the individual, because we need to see ourselves as believers. We won't get anywhere if we don't clean up our insides. So please, if you have been hurt by somebody, don't let an individual stop you from your relationship with Christ. Like Lindsay said, God, he can touch, heal, and deliver whoever you are. God can do anything. He can do things that we can't even think of. So please don't allow please don't allow a situation to stop you from going to a church. If somebody has hurt you, if you need to go to a pastor of an assembly, do that. Privately. If you need to go to an individual privately, do that. And if they really want to be saved, they might not like it at first, but they will be, as Najole always says, they will be okay. And they will be okay, because if they truly want to be saved, they will rectify the situation and make sure that you are okay, and they'll do what's right in order to help you heal from the situation.